the first thing that you should look at is cost. Can you afford this car? I've been in automotive since 1995, and I find nothing has changed. People still um, live beyond their means. They buy cars that they can't afford. They don't budget properly for it. They overspend when they purchase the vehicle. All right, because they miss a vital step. Usually they didn't make a budget. They buy on impulse. All right. Impulse purchasing on big purchases is a big no-no. All right. That's why if you impulse purchases, if you're cashing out at a supermarket and you see a magazine that you want to buy, right, and you grab it and cash it out with your food, that's an impulse purchase, and that's why the magazine's at the stand by the cash register for you to buy it on impulse. All right, they don't put a car on your way out of a business because they know it's a big purchase. It should not be an impulse purchase. It should be a purchase where you have thought that goes into it. All right, which includes making a budget. Okay, making a budget would come down to disposable income. So in other words, if you make $1,000 a month and your bills are $500 a month, your disposable income is $500, meaning you could save it or you could spend it, but that's disposable income. All right, you would have to know that to make a wise decision on purchasing a vehicle. Okay. And that brings me to the next question that you should be asking yourself. Are you going to strain your financial situation with this purchase? In other words, I'm going to reiterate the $500 a month disposable income. If your monthly payment on the car is $650, you can't afford the car. All right. I wouldn't recommend getting a different job. I would recommend looking at another car that you can't afford. Okay, so that's as far as cost goes. All right, cost of maintenance. Um, Believe it or not, I have two vehicles here, a Volkswagen and a Mercedes that are in my household. I am a mechanic, so I do the labor myself. I still pay for oil and oil filters, and every time I service these vehicles, just in materials, I'm at $100 per car. Okay. The Mercedes, if I brought it to the dealership would charge me $380 for the oil change. And the Volkswagen, because it's diesel, would be over $500. Okay. So for those of you that you're not mechanically savvy, where you'd have to pay someone to service your vehicle, these are things that you should be looking at. All right. It goes under practicality. All right. And it's very, you know what, it seems intimidating, but you know what, if you call the dealership and like, let's say you want to buy that mid-engine Corvette, if you call the dealership and ask them, what's the oil change cost for that car, right, before you buy it, they'll give you a price. It's there and it's available. Rule of thumb is the dealer is always the most expensive. So of course you would check out the other reputable garages after, right? And just kind of figure out, can you actually afford this? Okay. So that's a big one because at the end of the day, you could buy yourself a Lamborghini Gallardo, let's say, and then as soon as the brakes are gone on it, you have to spend $20,000 to replace them. I know this because I did brakes on a Lamborghini Gallardo 3 weeks ago. Okay. His bill was $22,000. Okay. So it's something that you should definitely think about. All right. Is the cost of maintenance, the quality of the vehicle. All right. Everybody's big on reading reviews. All right. You're going to read a review before you eat at the restaurant. You're going to read a review before you buy those headphones. You're going to read a review before you purchase running shoes. I hope that you're reading reviews on vehicle manufacturers when you're looking at buying a vehicle. All right. All the information is there. You should actually be reading reviews before you walk into the dealership. All right. and look at purchasing it, right? So let's say that you want to buy a Mini Cooper. Well, my recommendation is after you figured out what a Mini Cooper would cost, right, by going on Auto Trader, Kijiji, Craigslist, wherever you're doing your research, and you figured out that, okay, maintenance is reasonable, okay, I could afford it. Well, you would start looking at reviews of the Mini Cooper dealerships, okay? So, see what they say, see what the buzz is about it, right? You would type in Mini Cooper problems into Google and see what it pulls up, right? If you have an entire forum about people talking about a clutch blowing up just outside a warranty, right? And that they had to spend $5,000 to fix it. Well, maybe you should step back and look and say, okay, what's going on? What is this problem? If you're buying used, you might want to look at if there's an updated fix for something like that, right? But the good news is that if you're dealing with a knowledgeable mechanic, they will know this information usually, or they'll have access to this information. I know this because I'm a mechanic for like my entire life, and I know this information. Common problems on vehicles, updated parts are installed. All right. So if I know it, it's not top secret. There's other people out there that know it. Okay. And of course, you could always reach me through Ashton College if you do have any questions. Okay. I would be happy to help you. All right. So we're going to go next, the cost of insurance. Okay. So in Canada, we have it, depending on the province, you have government insurance and you have private insurance. All right. So government insurance, it's supplied by the provincial government. There's no shopping around. That's how much it costs, right? They give you the flat fee. You pay whatever they want you to pay monthly, and you call it a day, and that's it. If they cancel you, you're going to go into the private insurance like we have in Ontario, and it's expensive. Okay, private insurance. Okay. At one point in my life, because of my driving record, I was paying $7,000 a year for a 97 Jetta. Today, my insurance is down to $1,100 for an 06 Jetta. Okay, but it does fluctuate like that. Okay, so I would highly recommend looking into insurance before you purchase a vehicle, because $7,000 a year is not an unrealistic number depending on where you live. Okay, if you have a bad driving record, if you've never had insurance before, if you've never been insured on a car before, it is something that's realistic for a number. It goes down over time, but like I said, always do your due diligence and do your research. This is part of your research when you're purchasing a car. Okay? All right. So fuel mileage and cost. Both diesel and gasoline fluctuate in price. They do all over the country. Okay. The good news is that your driving habits are roughly going to be the same. So from month to month, you're going to spend in and around the same amount of money. Okay. So from month to month for myself, it's anywhere from $185 to $205 for my gas costs. Okay, for my car. All right. So because I use it for the same things over and over again, right? Going back to what I was saying before, do you actually need a car? If you're driving to work, yeah, you're gonna probably need a car, right? If you've got kids to pick up from school, you're gonna need a car. These are good reasons to get it. Okay. To drive over to Tim Hortons and hang out with your buddies in the parking lot, well, I don't know about that, right? That's up to you, right? That's you don't exactly need a car to hang out with your friends, but it's up to you, right? Whatever the reason is, at the end of each month, you should be within like $20-$30 of what you're paying from month to month for fuel. Okay, like I said, you're going to be using the car for the same thing over and over. The most of the time, what changes is the actual cost of the fuel that you're putting in. Okay, bringing me to my next point that I just touched on. Why do you need a vehicle? All right, it's a large purchase. This purchase is big enough that you finance it. Okay, which I'm going to get into later. All right, but it is a large enough purchase that tens of thousands of dollars. The industry itself, from manufacturing to servicing, is a multi-billion dollars, such a powerhouse that the government bailed out the manufacturers to keep the jobs. Okay, so understand something, that it's a large purchase. All right, there's a lot of moving parts with it. You should be considering why you are purchasing a vehicle. Maybe write it down on a piece of paper. Once you've done all the research and you know what the costs are behind it, you better make sure that you're going to be able to, to sustain it. And don't worry. A recommendation, because I've been through it. When you're working just to pay for a car, it's not a very good life. Okay, if you don't need one, it is very expensive to drive. Okay, so it is something that you should be thinking about. Okay, I'm going to pause it right over here. Do I have any questions on the first portion from anybody in the audience?
Looks like none, but I just wanted to give a quick reminder to our attendees that they can use the raise hand button at the bottom of your screens if you have any questions, and I can give you mic access if you want to speak with Victor.
Okay, bringing to my next portion of my presentation. Who to buy a vehicle from, the dealership or a private seller? Okay, so there's going to be pros and cons with both of these. All right, there is advantages to buying from a dealership. There is advantages of buying from private sales, and there's disadvantages alike. Okay, so purchasing a car from a dealership does have its advantages and disadvantages. The pros of purchasing a car from a dealer: the transaction is usually smooth, flawless, with it's very it gives you the least amount of stress possible. They do everything for you. This is their job. Remember this. This is what they get paid to do. You walk in, you talk to a sales guy. He's very good, very nice, very polite, right? Gives you their spiel, wins you over, sits you down, you sign a contract, and that's it. All the wheels are in motion. Car goes into the shop, gets safetied. They go to the Ministry of Transportation, Service Ontario, or whatever province you're from. They change it all over. They pay the taxes, right? And you come the same day or the next day, and they drop keys in your hand and say congratulations, right? And that's all you did was just sign a piece of paper. You didn't have to do anything. Okay. They make financing very easy. Okay. So like they'll sit there and approve you on the spot for financing if you don't have any money. Which brings me back to my first point. This is not an impulse buy. This is a large purchase. Be careful with that. Okay? That's how you get yourself into trouble. All right? Some cars, new and used, new cars all come with a factory warranty that the dealer will do anything to keep your business. Okay, as far as service goes. Even used cars come with some kind of warranty for the most part. And if it doesn't, there's a disclaimer that says the car's not roadworthy. Okay, and that's it. And that's they have to put that because the governing body, which is the UCDA that governs the dealers, makes them put that in the ads. It's actually law. Okay, if you have a car that you're looking to trade in, you're going to get a tax break on the trade-in, right? You're not. They normally they undervalue the cars on trade-ins because they're looking to turn it over as a profit, but you do get a tax break. Let's say that they give you 5,000 for a trade-in, right? So the car is $20,000 that you're buying. You will only pay taxes on the $15,000 after the trade-in, right? So it depends on every situation is different. It just depends on your particular situation, right? There's dealerships. Well, there's more than one car that you might like, right? You might be caught between two of them, right? Trying to make a decision, right? They tend to have a large selection, and most of the time it's a reliable transaction. You're not If you leave a deposit at a dealer of $10,000 for a vehicle as a deposit and you're financing the rest, well, you're not going to go back the next day. You should hope and say, and hear, what $10,000 did you leave me here, right? So that's it's they tend to be reliable, and like I said earlier, they're governed by a agency called the UCDA, Used Car Dealerships Association, right? That's in Ontario. Every province probably has their own, okay? But if they don't do their job properly, or if they rip you off, literally, if you call those people and complain about them, they're going to have to rectify it. Otherwise, they're going to get a strike on their dealer license. All right, which you don't want. And like anybody else, when problems come up and it becomes habit and not just a one-off type of thing, they start to get investigated, and the next thing you know, that dealership's no longer selling cars because they don't have a license to sell cars. Okay, so definitely some good points, right, when you're purchasing from a dealer. Okay, these are the cons. Everything that I just said, it comes at a price. You tend to pay more, all right, than you normally would for the car. All right, you're not always getting the best deal. Okay, the dealerships, it's a store. They do what's in their best interest. Okay, they're there to make money. So you're not always going to get the best deal, but you know what? You sign a piece of paper, you walk away, you hand them some money, and then the next day or a week later, you go pick up your new car, right? Like it's convenient, right? It's a simple transaction. Like I said before, the car can still be sold in an as-is condition. Like I said, in Ontario, they have to put that the car is not roadworthy because it's not safety. Okay, it just depends. It depends on the purchaser. If you're someone like me, yeah, I wouldn't think twice about buying an as-is car because that's what I do for a living. So if whatever's wrong with it, there's a good possibility I could fix it. And if I can't, if I don't feel, if I feel like I shouldn't have to work that much to fix it, well, I'm not going to buy the car. Okay. You can't always look at the price and the fact that you like the fact that the car is red and it's a two-door, it's exactly what you're looking for. But if it needs head gaskets, that's $4,000. Well, it's not a good deal. Unless you're doing it yourself, it's not a good deal. Okay? Plain and simple. If you're doing a major repair on a vehicle, A, the vehicle is never the same after the major repair, and B, it's costing you money. Okay? So just be aware of that. And dealers are more resourceful and can hide damages and alter things on a vehicle to fool the average customer. This happens. Believe you me, this happens. Okay? Unfortunately, I'm not going to go through any stories of things that I've witnessed, okay, to protect confidentiality of all parties, okay? But this happens, and it doesn't matter what's on the sign outside, okay? This happens, all right? But I'm gonna tell you how to remedy problems like this, okay? Don't worry about it. It's only a hiccup. Okay. So I'm going to go through purchasing a vehicle from a private seller. Okay. These are the pros. You can get a really good deal. It's your hard-earned money. Why spend more than you have to? You find the car that you want from a private sale. Hey, you should go take a look at it. Find out why the gentleman's selling it, or person is selling it, I should say, right? There's always a reason why the car is going. If the car is going because they're renting a house and they lost all their parking, well, guess what? You're going to get a good deal on something like that. If the car is going because it's been a lemon, quote unquote, um, the owner says, maybe that's a car you want to stay away from, even if the deal is sweet. You might want to stay away from that. The other good thing is that because it's a private sale, the person that's selling it has a reason why they're selling it. Okay, you could probably control the sale. All right, it's not a trained salesperson that's walking up to you in the dealership. Can I help you? Do you want a coffee? Have some cookies? You know, no, it's not that. You're meeting up with someone. You're going to their residence, right? You might get your way with them, right? If you can find common ground and relate with them. Okay, it's you have a better chance with someone like that than someone that's trained to get more out of you. Okay, this is the cons though. There's no warranty, right? You buy a car and the engine starts knocking the next day. You go to the mechanic and it says it needs an engine. You're not going back to the private seller. You're on your own. Period. Right? Private seller might even might even been using a prepaid phone. There's nothing governing the private seller from what he sells you. Nothing. You bought a car, you agreed on the price, and that's it. The car was okay when you drove off. There's no type of misrepresentation or anything there. Okay? Plain and simple. There's no governing body, meaning you can't go to anybody. Okay? You could try suing the private seller in small claims court, but at the end of the day, lawyers cost money, and you're trying to save money by buying a car privately. So this just might open up a can of worms and defeat the purpose. Financing, if you don't have any money, would be more difficult because you would have to prearrange it. Going back to budgeting, if you're budgeting properly, you could do something like that, no problem. Walk into your bank. Can I open up a line of credit? Can I get a loan? I want to buy a car. What's the interest rate? There's more than one ways to do it. Okay, but like I said, financing isn't on the spot financing. It's up to you to arrange it. The taxes paid on the car, although you're dealing with the private seller, the taxes paid may be higher because the way that it works is you're paying taxes on the wholesale value of the car. Meaning this, whatever the government writes down on the used car package, you're paying the taxes on. So if the government wrote down that the car is worth $500, you're paying taxes on $500. If the government wrote down that on their package that the car is worth $50,000, you're paying taxes on $50,000. Where the dealership, whatever they sell the car for, they're collecting the HST from you already, or whatever taxes you're paying in your province, they're collecting that from you and they're paying it directly to the government right off of the sale. Okay, that's one of the advantages of using a dealership, right? So even though you get a better deal on the car, well, if the dealership was sold you the same car, let's say you paid $5,000 for the car and the dealership was selling it for $7,000, but the government says the car's worth $10,000. Instead of paying taxes on $7,000 that with the dealership, you'd actually be paying taxes on the $10,000 when you go to register the vehicle after you've paid the seller of the car whatever you guys agreed on. So when you register the car, you have to pay taxes on it. When you change ownership of the vehicle, you pay taxes on it. Period. All right. Every situation is different. It's just something you should be aware of. Okay. Even if the car is safety, it doesn't mean it's in good shape. Okay. So I'm going to go through what a safety is in a few minutes. Okay. Um, what I want to go through, what I want to talk about first is, now that you found the vehicle, what do you do next? Negotiate for the best price, purchase outright or finance. Do you have a trade-in? Have an outside party inspect the car. Is the car going to be safety? Okay, so like I said, we talked about we talked about this over here as a con of private sale. Even if the seller or the dealership, for that matter, safeties a car, it doesn't mean the car's in good shape. Okay, and I'm going to tell you about that. Okay, it's not a bad thing though to get a car that's safety. Don't get it twisted. All right, you need it to register it. Okay, so what is a certification? Okay, it's a document that outlines the vehicle's health that you need to get a license plate for the vehicle. Certification proves that the vehicle meets a minimum required safety standards in Ontario. The certificate does not guarantee the vehicle's condition, and it does not act as a warranty when you purchase a vehicle. Okay, down at the bottom of my screen, that's what a safety looks like in Ontario. All right, it's a handwritten document that's signed off by a licensed mechanic like myself. All right, so that means that I inspected the car and it passed that it passed the safety standards for the province. All right, so minimum. Just because the vehicle said that, just because the vehicle passed safety, doesn't mean that that it's a brand new car. Okay, so just to give you an example, tires. The discard spec on tires, which means the measurement when you throw out the tire, when the tires are ready to be thrown in the garbage, is 230 seconds. To pass a safety, the tire only needs to be 330 seconds. Okay? Period. Like 1/32 off, which is like a millimeter. All right? A millimeter of tread from being ready to throw in the garbage. Okay? And there's a tool to measure it with. You don't do it by eye. There's an actual tool to measure it with. All right? Brakes. 1 millimeter is safe, according to Ontario standards. 1 millimeter. Brake pads, when they come, they're like 10 millimeters thick. 1 millimeter. Okay? Plain and simple. The vent on the inside, they only has to work on defrost. Nothing else has to work, but the defrost has to work inside the car. The seatbelts have to work. Okay? Like I said, this is very, very minuscule. This does not mean that the car is in perfect health, and it does not mean that just because it came safety that the car is perfect. Now, getting a car that's safety saves you a lot of hassle. You don't have to go to someone like me and pay me a couple $100 to look at the car, right? And I might come back with news for you that the car needs work, or I might not, right? It's always good to get it safetied already, but don't be fooled, all right, by misrepresenting a safety standards in any province as a vehicle inspection that says that the car is in perfect condition. All right, please don't. Okay, and if you could get, if I, unfortunately I couldn't find a better copy, but down here in red it even says that that this inspection is based on the condition of the vehicle at the time of the inspection and is not a warranty. It says it in red. So it doesn't matter. once a day goes by, if you find something with the car that's at the minimum, for the required safety, and you try to complain about it, you're going to get sent away. All right, that's not how it works. It's it's on the day of the inspection, and that's it. Now, an example of something that shouldn't have been safetied is a hole in the floor from rust, because a car doesn't rust in one day. A car rusts over time. And to make a hole, it's going to take a long time. Okay? So that's something that should have been fixed. All right? An example of something you're probably not going to get away with, the brake pads are at 1 millimeter. You drove around one day, the day that it was safetied, you drove around 700 kilometers, now your brakes are grinding. Well, the mileage is written on the safety. The first thing they're going to do when you go to the inspection station and say you put 700 kilometers on the car in one day, I don't know what you were doing, but guess what? I think I agree with the tech. At the time of the safety, there was nothing wrong. Okay? It's a minimum standard. All right? Please understand that, everybody. Okay? Before purchasing a used car, always hire someone to look at the car that's knowledgeable, like an automotive service technician or someone that someone that knows about vehicles, that's around cars. All right, you don't necessarily have to pay someone. It depends on your situation. There's one key: make sure it's someone that the seller doesn't know. Okay. You don't want someone that's going to be one-sided. All right. You want someone that's going to tell you like it is. All right. I'm not saying that, hey, listen, go to a stranger or whatever. No, if you have a brother, a cousin, right? Someone that's going to look out for your best interest, that's great. Right. But just make sure that they're going to tell you the truth. All right. And above all, not someone that the seller sends you to, someone that they don't know. A non-biased opinion is what you want. Okay? You don't want someone that's gonna go to bat for the seller and make you buy a car that you're not going to be happy with. It's a major purchase. Do it properly. Okay? So just touching on the trade-in. All right. I told you about the tax break in Ontario. Every $1,000 given for a trade-in equals $113 saved in taxes. So, like I said, 5,000. They're going to take your clunker. Let's pretend $5,000 off of the $20,000 that you're buying the car for. So you're only going to pay taxes on the $15,000. Essentially, you're saving yourself, in this case, almost $600 in taxes. Okay. In a case like that. All right. It just to round down, you're going to be in the $570 range. Okay. It's still a good amount of money. Okay. And chances are that might be a payment or two. Okay. That you're saving yourself. All right. Don't dismiss it. Just because you're making a big purchase, don't just open up the floodgates and say, okay, I'm already spending this and I should buy that. No, every dollar counts. All right. Spend it wisely. You earned it. All right. So purchasing outright or financing. Okay. When you purchase something outright, you saved your money. You made a budget, and you went to work and you saved up money for this purchase, and you're gonna drop it all at once. Good for you. All right. You don't have to worry about any payments. The car is yours, free and clear. All right. Okay. Financing. All right. There's something you should know about financing before I even talk about your credit score. When you finance a vehicle, all right, especially with a manufacturer or anybody that does automobile financing, all right, there's two ways to do it. One way is they put a lien on the car so that you're not able to sell it to anybody without them knowing. Okay. And then once the loan is paid off, they take the lien away. Okay. So let's say that you decided that you were going to make a mad dash in the middle of the night and pack everything up and leave the country. when you sell that car, whoever buys it is going to go to register the car. They won't register it for anybody because the person that gave you the loan had a lien on it. All right, so they're gonna say no, I can't do anything with this, right? You have to fix the lien first before I can before you can get into it. Okay, so be wary of that, and be wary of that when you purchase a car. Make sure that there's no liens on the title, because when you purchase a car privately, right, that is something that that you should be aware of. The other way that they finance you, if it's, let's say you walk into a dealership, GM, Mercedes, BMW, whoever you walk into, right, and you do financing with them, their company is on the ownership with your name, which means that when you insure the car, it's not completely yours. You have to get full coverage on your insurance, meaning you cannot get rid of collision, you cannot get rid of comprehensive to save some money, right? You can't get any type of one-way insurance where it's just liability to be on the road. You have to fully cover the car. Okay, so keep that in mind whenever you're financing a vehicle through a manufacturer, and whenever you're buying a vehicle, be aware of that about lien information. And the easiest way to find out if the vehicle's got a lien on it is get the VIN number. Go to the local service. Well, in Ontario, it's Service Ontario. Whatever province you're in, wherever you go to register a vehicle, go there with the VIN number and ask them for a used vehicle package. It says it right on there. There are 0 liens on this vehicle, or this company has a lien on this vehicle. And if that company has a lien on the vehicle, go back to the seller and saying there's a lien on the car. Right? I don't think it's the right vehicle for me, right? It'll then be up to the seller to A, have it removed, or B, pay off the debt and not try to stick someone else with their problem. All right? It's something you should be very aware of. Okay? So now I'm going to get into credit. All right? This is very important when you're financing. Okay? How's your credit? Thank you. Okay. Although credit scoring models vary, generally credit scores from 660 to 724 are considered good, 725 to 759 are considered very good, 760 and up are excellent. This is probably, what are you talking about? What is a FICO score? Is probably what you're all saying. The FICO score is what the banks look at whenever they give you money. And generally, any financial institution, this is what they look at when they give you money, right? So anything below like 650, you're not getting a loan. They're not going to give you any money. All right? I'm going to tell you right now, you won't even qualify. All right? How this score works is, do you pay your bills on time? Right? So if you're delinquent with your cell phone bill, that you only pay it once a year for whatever reason, this score is not going to be good. Okay? If you pay your bills every month when they come in on time, this score will be just fine. Okay? If the other thing that affects this score is outstanding debt. Whenever they pull up your credit score, they can actually see on the page how much money you owe everybody. Okay, so if you have a credit card that's rolling over from month to month, that's got a $30,000 balance on it, but your credit score is at 725, they're going to look at that and say, why do you owe $30,000 to Visa? All right, just because you owe the money, it doesn't mean that you're going to have bad credit. They're going to question you if you can afford to pay them. Remember, they're loaning you money. They want it back with interest. They are running a business. Okay? You got to keep these things in mind. All right? So, brings me to what I have at the bottom of the slide there. This score is used to calculate your interest rate. Okay? So here's some quick facts for you. All right. The average interest rate with someone with good credit is 3 to 6%. Someone with bad credit can expect an interest rate of 6.5% to 15.9%. Right? It depends on how low your credit score is. Right? And I just went through what excellent credit is. Right? And it even tells you here, some manufacturers will offer 0% financing just because they have to move the vehicles, right? Remember, if you're buying a brand new car, they built the car, they have to sell it, right? Like they have to move it. So especially these days, they're gonna do what they have to do. All right. So 0% financing. It's the best deal you can get. It's called free money in the finance world. And what that is, if you borrow from them $20,000 for the car, you will only pay back $20,000. But I'm going to give you guys a little bit of insight over here. All right, on financing. All right. So here we go. The price of the new vehicle. Let's roll this over to $20,104. Okay. We're not worried about a trade-in right now. We're not worried about an existing loan balance because we're not putting a down payment down. Okay. But you're gonna pay taxes because everybody pays taxes. All right. So the amount that's going to be financed is $22,000. Your expected interest rate is 2.99% because your credit's good, right? So your monthly payment, right? Oh, 96 months. No, you don't want to live in the car. It's not a mortgage. All right. We're gonna do a reasonable finance, 36 months. Okay. So you put no money down. You're borrowing $20,000. You have good credit, right? You're gonna pay $660 a month for 3 years to own the car. The total interest you're going to pay is $1,062.38. Okay, on that loan. All right, total interest to be paid for over the duration of the loan. Okay, so let's say you have bad credit and you still want this loan. 15%. You're over the duration of the loan because of your bad credit. You're going to pay $5,632.85. Okay. Practicality, people. All right. Be practical. Okay. This is definitely not a situation you want to be in. You don't want to. This is double what you initially wanted to pay for the car. You're almost halfway up the thing. That you looked at $20,000 to borrow for the car, right? By the time you're done paying it after 3 years, you're going to be at wow, look at that. You're going to be at $28,000 and some change. Okay, this is not something that you want. Please take it seriously. Okay, I got to stop sharing my screen for a second to reload the slideshow. Okay. Okay. So once you figured all that out and everything else, it's your hard-earned money. Always negotiate the best price. All right. You should always make them earn the sale. Squeeze as much as you possible out of them. All right. That's why these people that you're buying a car from, chances are they're not your friend, they're not your relative, they're probably a complete stranger that's nice to you when you walk in there. Okay. They want to sell you the car. You don't have to buy it. All right. Anytime you feel pressure to buy anything, it's a good idea just to walk away from the sale. Okay. It's not exactly, I'm not telling you that's it, that's final. I'm telling you as somebody like, I've been there on both sides of it. Okay. I know what the intentions are. Okay. And I know what it feels like to feel like you're being pushed into something. This is a major purchase. Under no circumstances should you feel uncomfortable. the second you feel uncomfortable, walk away from the sale. All right. You don't have to buy the car. They might have to sell you the car for whatever reason. A sales guy meeting quota, somebody needs it off of their driveway, whatever the circumstance is, but you don't have to buy the car. Okay. I'm going to pause right there and take questions if anyone has any.
All right, just a quick reminder to everyone that if you guys have any questions, click the raise hand button or type it in the chat box. And I can read it out loud for Victor. If no one has any questions, I actually have a couple of follow-up questions from some of that you have previously discussed, Victor.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never purchased a vehicle before. I still have my learner's license here in BC, as we call
Yep.
it.
Yep.
And so you mentioned that you can buy from a dealer or a private salesperson, right? Or private sales.
Yeah.
To clarify, there are actually dealers who have options for you for used car. Like they're not just.
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay.
But whenever you're purchasing a vehicle, you should be very aware of what you're doing, like of what you're buying. It's a major purchase. Okay. Why I say that is I've seen dealerships and I'm not talking like the small used car dealership at the corner. I mean like dealerships. Okay, that you would walk in and be like, look at this place. It's beautiful. It's big. They have cars everywhere. There's 25 sales guys here. They have a 50 bay garage, like a big dealership. And just to put it to you like this, I saw them sell somebody a car that was in a collision that they didn't repair anything on. All they did was just put body parts over top of the damage, and the guy was financing it. He was paying monthly payments.
That's interesting.
Okay, and I'm telling you, I was at the time I was a shop foreman and I was working for the company. I couldn't say anything because he bought it from the dealership that I was working at. I couldn't say anything to the customer.
That's
all right,
yeah.
but as a human being, guess what? I'm talking about it right now as a horror story. Imagine how I felt for the guy when I saw that.
Oh wow.
Okay, so all right, like it doesn't matter where you're buying it from. You should always get an unbiased opinion of what you're buying. And when someone's trying to pressure you into signing something on the spot right away, right, and you feel pressured, get out of there.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, get out of there. They're not your friend. Okay.
All right. We actually have someone raising their hand. Nivita. Nivita, I'm going to give you mic access right now. Go ahead.
Hi, Victor.
Hi.
It was very enlightening because this is going to be my first car in case if I buy it once the COVID-19 is done.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. So I've heard that I've heard many friends who bought used car from rental, and they told me that it's a good deal. So
Yep.
what are your thoughts on it?
Okay, so this is the thing with rental cars. Rental cars are exactly that. They're rental cars. Remember, it just depends on how they were treated or mistreated by the possibly hundreds of people that drove it. Okay, you gotta take that into consideration, right? So as someone that's been I've been a mechanic forever, and I've worked as a sales guy, I've worked as a manager at a dealership, and I've done a lot of work for car rental companies. Business is good for the car rental companies when the cars are not there. They expect the cars to be out all the time. So if you're buying a vehicle from a car that used to be a car rental, chances are you'll probably be okay, right? But just understand that 1 year with a car rental, right, would be equivalent to 5 years of somebody using it for personal use. Okay, that would be the wear that's on it. And unfortunately, most car rental companies, they don't like to spend money on repairs. Everything is fix it as cheap as possible.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not saying that necessarily that you're gonna get a bad car.
No, I got it.
This is just the facts.
Yeah. I have one more question. Can
Of
I
course,
ask?
go
if
ahead.
this- Okay, regarding insurance, so what do you suggest? Because I try to Google it and I'm kind of
What
overwhelmed.
province do you live in?
I'm in Ontario, London.
Oh, Ontario?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I have a good credit record and a good driving record as well.
Okay, so you know what the best thing for you to do is just call a broker.
Broker.
Google automotive insurance brokers, right?
Okay.
Like there's what is it, Secure Insurance Solutions, like companies like that, and let them know the year, make, and model of the vehicle that you're driving, that you wanna purchase. Let them know what class of driver's license you have. If you don't mind me asking, what class driver's license do you have? G1,
G,
G2?
G.
Yep.
I have
Oh,
G.
you have a G. Have you ever been insured before?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Has the insurance ever stopped?
no, so that car and insurance is gone with my ex. So now
Okay.
I'm, yeah.
Okay, so these are all good things because what they look at is if you stop insuring yourself, like your vehicle, even for 1 year, it raises a flag with the insurance company, right? So what kind of vehicle was it that you were looking at purchasing?
I'm looking for a SUV. Probably my preferred brand is Toyota.
That's good because I'm gonna touch on why you should buy vehicles like that after when I put the slideshow back up.
Okay, and could you
Okay.
please, yeah, elaborate on front wheel drive and rear wheel drive? Because I'm a little bit confused which one to choose on that, because I heard that if you buy a front wheel drive, I mean, it's
Are you
more
looking at
heavy.
what are you looking at? A Venza or RAV4? What are you looking at?
RAV4.
RAV4. RAV4 only comes front wheel drive or all wheel drive.
But I haven't yet finalized it, so I'm just kind of trying to understand the rationale behind front
Okay,
wheel, and
so-
because this is my first time, so in Canada
Okay, so-
it snows, so it's kind of confusing.
So the front if it's front wheel drive, the final drive, like from the drivetrain, all it does is spin the front tires. The rear tires spin freely.
Okay.
So if you lifted the car up off the ground, all four wheels, and you put it in drive or reverse, on a front wheel drive, only the front tires would be turning.
Okay.
Okay, that's why. The rationale behind it, it's better control because they're your steer tires as well. You could control the vehicle better. On a RAV4, it's all-wheel drive. You're not gonna have to worry about that. It's a good vehicle.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
you're not gonna have to worry about that. Like that's a wise purchase. But look up insurance brokers, physically call them, tell them I want to buy a 2015 Toyota RAV4, whatever year it is. Don't even tell me you're gonna buy it. Just say you want a quote on it. They're gonna ask you for your driver's license number. If they ask you for a VIN number, say you don't have the vehicle yet, and they're gonna ask you the information I just asked you. How long have you been insured continuously for? Where do you live?
London.
London? Okay, and the postal code in Ontario is the other factor that's going to play for your insurance.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why, but that's the best way to go about it. They're going to ask you your address mainly for your postal code.
And for student, do they give any discount?
It
in
depends on the
insurance?
company. It depends on the company.
Okay. Good.
Okay? Did that help?
Yeah, it helps because I tried entering the details in the TD Milan.
No,
and then
most
it
of
was
them are
quite
just looking.
overwhelming. Like
Yeah,
the price was
of
too
them are
high.
most of them are looking for your phone number to call you.
Yeah, and then they
Yeah,
keep calling me.
I
So
know.
okay.
That's why. That's what they do. They get your phone number and they keep calling you and calling you after. That's
Yeah.
why. Look up an insurance broker. It doesn't matter where they are because you're never gonna meet these people,
Okay.
right? You're just gonna pay for it like through your bank or with a credit card anyways.
Mhm.
So just look up insurance broker and speak with them over the phone. And usually the brokers deal with 5 or 6 different companies. You want to call 3, I would call 3 insurance brokers, and whoever gives you the best deal, well, you know who you got to go with.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Next question.
Thank you for that. If anyone has any questions, I can give you mic access.
I
guess
I saw something in here. Hold on, in the chat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's
Okay.
actually from Nivita as well. She had a question written down here. I heard there are specific days to buy a car to get the best deal. That's actually fascinating. Is that
No, that doesn't exist.
unfortunately?
Believe me when I tell you, the dealerships are interested for them. They're in business for themselves, not for anybody else. All right. There was something about leasing and financing. I'm just gonna be very blunt about leasing. When you lease a vehicle, the vehicle is not yours. Okay. Period. You're paying monthly on the depreciation of the vehicle. Okay. That's how they justify it. At the end of the day, when you lease a car, the car does not belong to you. It still belongs to the dealership. At the end of your lease, if you have a 3-year lease and you choose not to buy out the vehicle, the dealership takes it back and they send it to a third-party company for an inspection. All right. They don't inspect it themselves. And then that third-party company goes around the vehicle and says, oh, you have the wrong tires on the car. Let's say you changed the tires, right? Because they wore out. And whatever, they turn around and say, oh no, this car came with Continentals. You put Michelins on the car. The dealership will turn around and charge you for Continentals to be put back on the car, right? For an example, all right? When you lease a car, it's like a long-term rental, all right? I'm telling you right now, it's not worth it unless you make so much money that you need to put it somewhere. Which I don't think there's anyone in the audience that's like that right now. And if there is, God bless you, right? But yeah, it's not something I would recommend, because even on the lease, you're paying interest. You're putting money down on the lease. That money's gone, right? A good thing to do whenever you're looking at leasing, when they say 0 down, it means you have to give them $3,000, okay? Because you have to pay for freight, PDI, and a bunch of service charges, all right? As I stated before, for the insurance, you have to put full coverage for the insurance on the car, okay? Because the car is not yours, okay? So please, everybody, I would have a good reason for leasing. Don't just lease it because you like the car and you want to drive it around, all right? It could end up costing you a lot of money in the end, okay? And I've seen it. A friend of mine, he had to pay Mercedes $22,000, all right? He didn't get the car back, eh? They didn't give him he didn't get to keep the car. He didn't want to, they said, lease another car and we'll waive this $22,000. He said, no, I don't want another Mercedes. He paid $22,000 because of the amount of miles that he went over on the lease, right? Because they cap you at that, right? They're looking out for themselves. They want to resell the vehicle, okay? What do we have over here? I heard specific days to buy a car to get the best deal. All right. If you're looking at the best time to buy a car to get the best deal, it would be in December, because what happens is they have to clear their lot for new inventory. And this year, it's not going to happen. COVID slowed everything down. All right. We're in a pandemic. The dealerships aren't interested in moving their inventory. Okay. So that's sorry to disappoint. I could definitely, okay. Is there any more questions you see over there?
Not from here. Although I do, I just have like one quick follow-up
Yeah, go
question
ahead.
regarding insurance. So like I've never insured a car before, but are insurance rate different when you lease or when you're insuring a car for for personal use versus if I'm insuring this pickup truck for my construction business?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely, because it goes by risk, right? So if you're insuring a vehicle, let's say to drive Uber, right? Because that's
Yes.
something that's possible that everybody in the audience can do, right? Guess what? Your insurance company finds out you're driving Uber. They're classifying on commercial insurance. Commercial insurance is expensive. The way that commercial insurance is assessed is you have to hand in your annual sales so that the insurance company could see what you were doing. And then that's how they rate you on insurance. Okay? So you own a 2005 Toyota Corolla, you paid the car $4,000. It had low mileage on it. You drove Uber and Lyft with it, right? You made $90,000 because you worked like crazy, right? You were honest with your insurance company. You paid the premium on insurance for driving driving Uber and Lyft. They're going to ask you when you renew your insurance, are you still driving Uber and Lyft? Yes. Can you send me in your statement, your earning statement? They're going to look at that and they're going to assess. They're going to assess you on that. Okay. You could always not tell them the truth. Okay, but you're running a risk. Okay, so my wife, okay, she drives. She has a vehicle that she uses just for personal use. Okay, once the pandemic hit, she stopped carpooling to work. Okay, no big deal, right? Like this is life. Okay, she's a teacher, so she started driving to work. One day on the way home from work, she rear-ended somebody. No big deal. I just told her, no, go report it. Don't, go report it. Go through insurance. It's whatever. Are you okay? I didn't care. Okay. The insurance company called and said, you were driving home from work. You're listed as personal use. Right? My wife had to explain herself. This is a one-off. I'm a teacher. The pandemic hit in March. I haven't gone to work since March. Right? That's why. This was in September. So the insurance company, oh, okay, so your life actually changed because of the pandemic. And now she has to pay an extra $20 a month for insurance because now she's using it for work. Right? They didn't do nothing about it. They didn't cause a hassle, right? Because we pay our bills, right? They're not chasing us for anything. But if you're gonna flip that was from somebody that went from, that went from their home to work. If you're driving Uber or Lyft and something happens and you're insured as personal use, what do you think that your insurance company is gonna do? They called us for something like that. What do you think would happen? All right. I think it'll be a bigger problem than a phone call saying, by the way, you're listed as this and you're doing that. Right? So just everybody, please keep that in mind. Okay. Any more questions?
No questions so far.
Okay.
But yes, we can move on if you have another slide.
Of course. Okay. So I'm nearing the end of the presentation over here. Okay. I want to leave you guys with a couple things. All right. Make an informed decision when you're buying a vehicle. Just like I was just explaining to the lady that was on the other end of the chat there with me. Okay. Do your research. Okay. You don't have to buy the car. The seller wants you to buy it. They want your money. You are the customer here. If you ever feel pressured, leave. Don't leave abruptly. I would recommend that you politely, okay, I gotta go talk to my wife about it. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna get my son and I'm gonna bring him here. Whatever the excuse is, get out of there. Under no circumstances when you're making a big purchase should you feel pressured from people. And that's, to me, that's suspicious when somebody pressures you, okay, to buy something. That's suspicious behavior to me, okay? If they know that what they have is a good product, well, it should fly off the shelves, okay? It should not, like, there should be, oh no, you want to buy a brand new, C300? No, they're so popular, you got to wait 2 months, right? Like that's if it's truly a good product, that's how it should be. Not, well, it's here, I can get the paperwork started, have a seat, here's a pen, here's a contract. No. Right? Make an informed decision. You don't have to buy it, right? They have to sell it, but you don't have to buy it. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you something, okay? Navita, I'm going by, like I was telling you, we were going to touch on resale value. When you buy a car, all right, you got to think about, first of all, practicality, all right? Because that's going to bring you into resale value. So if you're buying a car for you and your family to, to be able to, bring the kids to school, to go get groceries, right? And things like that. A Porsche 911 may not be the car that you're looking for that. Okay, you may be looking for something like a Hyundai Santa Fe, a Toyota RAV4, right? Something that's practical. All right, you may not everybody wants a Ferrari, but number one, a Ferrari costs an arm and a leg to fix. Number two, it's not a family car, it's a sports car. Okay, and it's classified as such as to an insurance company. Okay, all right, so that's me touching on practicality for you. Resale value. Understand something, that if you're buying something that that tends to be expensive, like in the used market, right? Chances are you're going to get more money back when you go to sell it because there's a demand for it. For example, Toyota Camrys in the used market, you can't hold on to them, right? Like they will sell like all day long. Okay, people want them, right? And they hold their values. They hold their value. A Hyundai Accent, it's the cheapest car that you could buy that's brand new on the road. Well, if you go to sell a Hyundai Accent, you're going to be waiting a while for someone to buy it. Okay, just understand that you get what you pay for. Okay, if you've done all the research I'm telling you to do, all right, in this presentation, if you've done everything, at the end of it, you will make an informed decision, and you will get get something that's practical, that fits your needs. You will be able to narrow it down, and you will get something that's going to hold its value because you've done your research. Okay, so that's concluding my presentation for now. I'll love to take any questions from anybody that may have some.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, we still have about 10 minutes left in the session. I guess I'll ask a question because I actually had a
Well,
few list.
you know what? There's something that I didn't touch on in the slides.
Okay.
Okay. When you're quoting something for insurance, a vehicle, the way an insurance company works when they quote you, they look at the amount of incidents that involve that certain vehicle. Okay, so let's say back in the late 90s, they had a problem with Acura Integras getting stolen. Okay, that was a big problem. All right, you bought an Acura Integra, right? And you would do it up and do all kinds of nice work to it, make it look like a really nice car, and then you go into a movie theater, come out, it'd be gone. Okay, that affects the insurance. Okay, the insurance is quoted on certain vehicles by how many claims are against it, meaning that if last year, for example, Navita is looking at buying a Toyota RAV4. They had a problem in the last couple of years with Toyotas getting stolen. Okay, Lexuses and Toyotas. It may not have affected the insurance yet, but down the road it will. There will be an increase to insure those types of vehicles because the insurance companies keep paying out claims for them. Okay, that's the way it's very black and white the way they look at things. Okay, so I guess I'll take Rika's question if.
Oh, actually, we have one from Navita. What are the pros and cons if I pay upfront cash for a new car?
Well,
Upfront cash.
let me tell you something. The pros are you will not have to. You won't have any monthly payments. You won't pay any interest, right? And the car will be yours outright. There's not going to be change a title or get the car safety to change it completely into your name. None of that. The car will just be yours. That's it, free and clear, and it'll stay like that forever. Now, the cons is if you're paying 20 grand for the car, guess what? You just took 20 grand out of your bank account that probably took you a year to save. Okay, so that's why you'll actually be out the money up front, which a lot of people don't like to be. All right, so that's the downfall of it. But like myself, I lean more towards the, well, I'm gonna have to pay it anyways because this is what I want. This is what I saved for. So if I had the cash on hand, that's what I would do. No, Ty, what kind of car do you have? You should, Navita, that's a good idea. Shop for 0% interest. It's a good idea. Ty, what kind of car do you have? That's 2017 CRV. All right, so I have a customer that's got a CRV from 1998 that has 700,000 kilometers on it. I don't know. I wouldn't change it after 100,000, right? Yeah, they're great. It's a good vehicle. The 2017s, they have piston ring problems. Just hold on to all of your receipts because the dealership, Honda Canada, will fix the oil consumption problem at no charge if you ever have that problem. Okay, hold on to all your receipts for it. Okay, all your maintenance receipts.
Sounds good. Well, my question actually was kind of like taking inspiration from what you just told about Toy. So, do you have a preferred car maker? Like, I mean, Toyota or Honda. Like, I even heard rumors wherein
Okay,
like Honda and
you
Acura
know
are the same.
what? You know what? Okay, so I'll tell you this right now. Right now, dollar for dollar, Toyota is probably the best deal that you're going to get for quality and your money at the moment. Dollar for dollar, right? Because Toyota actually retains the value. Value for dollar, like when you something you're going to get the most for your money, it would be Hyundai. Okay, if you no, I'm serious. When this is done, everybody go look at a brand new Hyundai. Okay, like a Hyundai Santa Fe. Go look at it. Right, it's impressive. It looks like a BMW X5, and they're not expensive. Okay, compared to the similar vehicles in its class. Me myself, I could answer that in a second. What's it called? Me myself, I like European cars because those are the types of cars I've worked on all my life. So I keep buying Volkswagens, and my wife has a Mercedes, which don't get it. It's expensive to fix it and to maintain it. All right, unless you have money that like the money to maintain that car, don't buy it. Okay, so RCMP. Okay, so the police, they what they do, it's part of the government. They run something called a call document that's through a tender program. So for GM, everybody bids on what they're going to give the vehicles for through fleet, and that's why you see them. 3 years ago they were all driving GMC Yukons because GM won the tender for 5 years. Now Ford won the tender. Okay, it just depends on who gave them the better deal. Okay, and if you're going to Honda for your oil changes, Ty, and they're not charging you, there's a record of it. Okay, so they have it, so you're good to go as far as that goes. Okay, but you just mentioned it gets stolen after listening. I look like I will have to forget Hyundai and opt for Hyundai. Well, Davida, it's it's up to you. Just or Toyota. Oh, forget Toyota. Well, it's up to you. Well, I like imports. Okay, Ty. All right, Japanese. I would go with an import before a domestic car. Back to Navita. It's up to you. Whatever you think is best for you. I can't make that judgment. Just the Hyundai Accent, you'll never be able to sell it. Toyota RAV4, you'll be able to get rid of it. And the okay. So I just thought I thought I would let you know that. Okay, I see your comment over there. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for me? Everyone's a pro.
Actually, we had, oh, how about Lincoln?
Lincoln's the same as Ford, right?
Mhm.
I'm indifferent. Just so that you know, the brand new Lincolns, they're the same as a Land Rover. Land Rover's not a very good vehicle. Just to let you. All right, they are a problem-prone vehicle. So, what were you saying, Zika?
Oh, someone was asking earlier if they can get a copy of the PowerPoint presentation that you have, and I can email it to attendees if,
Do you have a way of downloading it?
I think if you give me access in my
I'll give you
college
access.
email.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah,
no problem.
all
I'll
right.
give you
And
access. No
yeah,
problem.
I can just send it to everyone through their emails that we have on file. So they all registered through Eventbrite. So I have all
Yeah,
of
yeah,
their
no
email
problem.
addresses.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 100% I'll give you access to it.
awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so
Is there
much.
is there anything here that I missed? They took the time to come, so I want to take the time
Yeah.
to yeah, here. I'm gonna do you remember what my Ashton College email is?
I actually posted it in the chat earlier. It's V like Victor Cole, COLE at F dot ashtoncollege.ca. So I'm just gonna type it again.
Okay. Yeah, put it in there so in case Navita has any questions for me down the road, she could email me. I'll be happy to help her.
Yeah, so like
Okay.
the F dot ashtoncollege.ca. A lot of people miss that. F stands for
Yeah, because it's
faculty.
faculty.
Yeah.
The F is faculty. That's why. Otherwise, I'd be a student.
Yeah.
So, thank everybody thank you all for coming, right? Thank you for everybody that participated as well. If anybody's got any questions, like Rika just did, she put my email in the chat there. Please don't hesitate to email me. I usually get back to everybody at my earliest convenience, so within a day or so. And please, if you want to know more about vehicles or whatever, I teach the refresher course to apprentice mechanics for Ashton College, but Ashton College will accept anybody for that, and it is informative. You will walk away with knowledge you didn't have. Okay, just so that you know. And remember, when you invest in educating yourself, you're actually investing in yourself. So.
Right. So thank you. I actually posted in the chat box. If you're interested in finding out more about Ashton College, you can go to ashtoncollege.ca and yeah, and can meet Victor in one of our courses. So thank you
So
so much, Victor. It's been such a fun and very informative Brain Boost
always,
webinar. And
yeah.
yeah, we hope to have you again in the future for
I
other
hope to.
automated.
I
Yeah,
hope to be back. I love doing these.
awesome. Sounds good. That's good to know. And
So
thank you for all the participants. And I guess we'll let you guys go. It's probably dark over there in the East Coast at this point. So enjoy your evening.